All right. So thank you for joining me. This is Carolina Posada. Is that how you say
Yeah,
it?
correct.
All right, Carolina Posada. So I'm really excited to have Carolina today because she is a coffee farmer from Colombia. And she's the first meaningful relationship that we've had with a coffee producer outside of the traditional methods that we go about getting our coffee, which is usually through a broker. So it's really cool to me to be able to see the faces on the other side of the industry. We're in such a small market here that it's hard to make that connection meaningful. And with you, it's super meaningful. Like right away, it's special. So I'm very thankful that you're here, and I can't wait for our customers to meet you because what you're doing is really awesome. So if you could just go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
Okay, no, thanks to you. I really appreciate you like having me and having our coffee at your place. So I'm a coffee producer from Colombia. I'm third generation. My father, he used to sell all the coffee inside Colombia and he never exported it. So I came with the idea about bringing the coffee and offering it directly to roasters.
So the experience with you so far has been pretty punk rock. Okay, because we go through the traditional methods generally for procuring our coffee, we don't see a face. So the people that when we're buying coffee, we're buying it on taste alone, but we don't really see the face of the producers that have created that coffee. And that's because the market is already really established. So from what I understand, that the players are already kind of there, like the table's full. And so to get your coffee into the hands of specialty roasters in America, you don't go through the traditional methods. You're doing it all yourself, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, when I started exporting, I started like selling the coffee to these large players, but it's a really tough business. Like it's really price sensitive because the coffee is a commodity. So it wasn't really making any sense for us to export the coffee. We decided to change the approach and go directly to the roaster and build like a more win-win relationship. So
Punk rock, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So the first time you came in here, you met my wife, Sarah, and I wasn't here. And when I came back, she was just so excited to tell me about you coming in, and she was floored by your presence and that that you were doing this. So it was cool. It was real cool to have you come into our cafe to introduce yourself straight from from your home and then just making it happen. So that was real cool and real special.
You're not used for farmers to visit the shop, but you're used of to get like a lot of offerings
Mhm.
of coffees.
I get
So
so many emails from
mhm,
farms directly offering samples and everything, and it's
exactly.
a lot of noise. It's a lot of
Uh-huh.
noise, so it's hard to sift through
So
it.
not all the roasters are open like to more offerings. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, because like I only have like my coffee supply is, first of all, my storage is pretty limited, and we don't have a lot of capital to work with when we're trying to find coffee for the year, for instance. So if I have coffee in place already, it's hard to find space to put another coffee. But with you, we have our abolitionist roast, which is our most popular coffee, and we use it as an espresso here. But people really do like it because it's a really good coffee, and your coffee replaced the component that we were using in that. So now you have a permanent place in our lineup, which is really cool because I can always buy your coffee and I can always use it, and it's never going to get stale. So it's very cool.
like what's working for me, it's like building this relationship, like going to like coming here. It's not only like bringing you the coffee, but like seeing you, telling you about what's going on at the farm, like the new crops and all that details. That's like what's building like the relationship.
So how is the business structured right now? So you live in Colombia primarily?
Right now I'm based here because I'm doing like all the sales. So you need to be here like to open the market. So my brother, he's in charge of the production right now in Colombia. So he's handling all the production and I'm handling the exports, imports, and all the logistics here in the US.
So what is the
Yeah.
process from the grounds to coming into my roastery and landing on my pallets?
So we pick it up at the farm. We do the wet milling at the farm.
Wet milling?
So we like the cherry, the cherry, we take out the pulp of the coffee, we wash it and we dry it. And then we have like the coffee in parchment at the farm. And then we take that coffee to a dry mill where they like take out that parchment, and that's how you get like the green beans. Then we ship that to the port. Well, the decaf, it's another additional process because there's only one facility plant in Colombia, like in the whole country.
So the decaf, and that's we're doing a sugar process.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's like with the fermentation of the sugar cane, it acts as a natural solvent to remove the caffeine. So it's like a natural process, and it actually gives like the sweetness that you can taste.
Yeah, our
on the
decaf, our decaf does have like a natural sweetness imparted that we can really pick up. It's a nice round mouthfeel, which is kind of really cool for decaf, because usually decaf leaves something on the table, like it leaves something, and this decaf is amazing.
Really
So
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Plus, we're using like the Excelso quality, that is the good quality of the beans. for the decaf.
Excelso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ship it to the port, then it comes in the vessel, and we do like the import here in the US. It arrives to Newark, and then it is shipped to a warehouse in New Jersey.
So we have a couple of ports that are known for carrying coffee, most primarily the New Jersey terminals.
Mhm.
Then I think there's maybe something in Florida, for sure in Texas,
Yeah.
and then in San Francisco,
Yeah.
the Annex, and maybe
And
Seattle
Maryland,
as well. Maryland.
uh-huh.
So-
North Carolina.
So how many places are you putting your coffee into?
Right now, just New York.
New York,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And then how many roasters are you working with?
Around 30.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think I've been in contact with a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all stoked on your coffee. So, all right, cool.
Yeah, we started. Well, it has been a process because I started in New York, like actually like Manhattan and that area, but it's really competitive, and it's really hard like to get in, and they are really price sensitive, like those roasters.
Right.
So we decided to start driving, like more into like inside the country.
That's how
More-
you found us.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So basically, it's PA, and because we're doing the deliveries, we have discussed if we want to expand further, but we are not sure if we're ready with the logistics yet. So
Right.
we don't want to mess up.
Don't
Like,
want to bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly. It's basically across PA, all the way to Pittsburgh.
To Pittsburgh. Very
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you're third generation. So who was the founder?
My grandparent, well, he was killed during the violent season in Colombia. We had a lot of drugs, and yeah. So during that time, they tried to rob coffee from my grandfather's farm,
Oh my God.
and then they shot him at the farm. And my father, he was like 7 years old. So it was my grandma with seven children, and she had to raise them all
On the
at the
farm.
farm. Uh-huh.
What was his name?
Mario. Hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my father, he continued. He was the only one among his siblings to continue with the coffee farm,
Okay.
because they moved to the city, like looking for better opportunities. Like my grandma, she decided to move with all of them to the main city,
Okay.
to Medellin. But my father, he decided to continue like with the coffee business. He moved to a town that was nearby his like a town of origin, and he sold that farm, and he bought another farm in Andes that is Mina Rica.
Mina Rica. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So the original farm changed, and so we bought Mina Rica.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And that's why Mina Rica, that's why we have like the name of the company is Mina Rica.
And what is Mina Rica?
So it's the name of, well, it's the name of the farm, and it's like the translation in Spanish is like rich mine, like gold mine,
Okay.
because like there's a belief that below the ground there's gold.
Interesting.
So he acquired like a small part of that farm, and he started expanding it.
Okay.
Like he started growing in production. He now has 6 farms.
6 farms.
Like
Wow, that's
different-
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
so
awesome.
That's how he started growing the coffee business.
So you're originally growing and trading in Colombia for Colombian consumption.
Yeah, part of the production stays in Colombia. We sell it like to local cooperatives, and other part we ship it here.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what's the coffee market? Is it like a lot of coffee consumption in Colombia? Is there a specialty market there?
Not, well, it's growing. It's not too big, um, but there are a lot of multinationals buying Colombian coffee. So you have a lot of people demanding, uh, and sometimes they even pay better inside Colombia than
Awesome.
outside. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, it's
because like they are all competing for the beans.
Oh,
like,
that's great.
to export them.
from what my limited understanding of uh, market would be that most of the best coffee would be sent for export, and then the lower scoring coffee would be kept inside for consumption. It's
Yeah,
kind of tragic
yeah, yeah,
because there's
Yeah.
delicious coffee.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, I'm sure there's so many challenges, but just by you bringing your coffee into America and like spreading it in the northeastern Pennsylvania like wildfire, like where have the big challenges for you been? Because just looking from the outside, it's again punk rock, and I
Yeah.
love do it yourself. Where you were building it yourself, and so I have so much respect for that. So where are the challenges?
First, price, because coffee, it's traded as a commodity, and I don't know if you're like familiar with the stock market, but right now it's like
Horrible.
super crazy.
Horrible.
Like, it's crazy.
So
So
coffee is the second largest traded commodity underneath oil. So Brazil is typically the one who sets the price because they produce so much in volume. So if Brazil has like bumper crop years, it drives the price down for everybody else. And then you've got these large multinationals operating on the ground in Brazil that are keeping the prices from what I can see, kind of artificially low, which is strangling the producer because they're the ones that still have to deliver the coffee, and then we are the ones who have to purchase. And it's such a weird thing, to really truly understand.
yeah, you never match like the buying with the selling. Like if I ship coffee at a price from Colombia, I'm not selling that coffee right now. So you can have like, because the volatilities are so high, I can end up like with a really high cost inventory here, and then if the stock market goes back down, then I have to sell it like below or at cost. So it's really,
So are you able to kind of ensure sustainability by sidestepping the market?
well, working directly with the roasters, it's what's giving us like that stability, because
Any roasters watching this, hit these people up and buy their coffee directly. Okay.
that that keeping like the price stable.
So today the coffee looks like futures are trading at 35 cents per pound, which is actually
That's
pretty
high.
pretty high. Yeah, I've seen it under $2 recently,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today it looks so. I mean, from what I've seen, the futures market, it looks like it's okay today. Where's that line? Because I think I've read somewhere that what a fair trade is like might not make any money, but you might not lose any money.
If like the new generations, they don't find the business attractive. Of course, for them, it's gonna be more interesting finding a more stable job at the city, and it's really hard work. And like each time, people they don't want to do like too hard works. Like they want everything easy, fast.
Me too.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And we end up trading our body, the health of our body, for money a lot. Like we beat our bodies up because we're trading our health and our life for dollars.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine. I'm so ignorant to the realities of coffee farming. So
Yeah. It's a challenge, and it has to change because I don't see like a really positive future
that's horrible.
in the coffee production in Colombia. Yeah.
Okay. So basically maybe more coffee kind of sidestepping the sea and trying to get directly into the hands of more roasters.
Yeah.
So you just need a lot more of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you're doing door to door. Basically, you're doing cold calling. You're like knocking on the door of people that have never met you and introducing yourself and selling the product. And luckily you're pretty good at it because it works. That's kind of different from like traditional methods. Do you know of anybody else that's kind of like grinding it out like that?
No.
No, I don't either.
And that's what's working for me. Like, I think that's my. Of course, the coffee is good, and yeah, the price is good, and yeah, it's um like a good product. But I think what's really working is like having this personal connection with the roaster.
If you have enough really small scale roasters getting on board and kind of adopting that ethos, then I would love to see the market trend that way.
Yeah.
There's no offense, but the stock market's horrible,
It
and
is.
capitalism is horrible. It's good when you can ensure sustainability.
Yeah. Like right now, we are working also with small farmers in Colombia, and we are bringing their coffees as well.
That's
Because,
awesome.
like, when I started the business, like, my initial intention was okay, I'm going to open the market, and of course, I want to sell my coffee, but I also want to bring more people with me
Yeah.
because, like, every time like the new generations in Colombia, they don't want to stay at the farm. Like they want to sell the farm, they want to go to the city and look for another job. So if I can help them like have a more meaningful business, like more sustainable business, then that would make sense for them. And like most of the producers, they don't speak English, they don't have the means to travel here and sell the coffee, and like driving and offering the coffee, it's expensive. Like you have
Right.
to pay hotels and food and all of that. Like
And you rent the truck.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I can be at like a bridge for more producers, then
So that's like
great.
you're looking at different like the honey process you were telling me
Mhm.
about. So are you doing any the new anaerobic ferments? Because I'm seeing
Not yet.
it's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of really crazy
Yeah.
fermenting coffee with strawberries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Traditionally, the coffee is really good and it's clean and it's consistent. From cup to cup, it's all pretty.
Exactly.
It's like you check all the boxes.
And for example, the honeys and naturals, it's like easier to have consistency with those.
It's easier and less expensive to process naturals too, right?
I think not really. Like
Okay.
every process, like depends on what you do, like during the process. But
I figured labor-wise, like it takes more effort to make a washed coffee than it does a full natural, but I don't know. Because like a full natural, it comes directly from the shrub. It's harvested and then laid out to dry at that point.
yeah,
And then the processing is where it's just holed out, and then the parchment is sent and then processed.
but like the drying process of the natural, it's really tricky,
Okay.
and you have like more volume of coffee to dry. because like you need 5 berries of natural to have one
Really? One
dry.
bean? Really?
So it's
5?
5 to 1.
And why
So
is
you need
that?
5 kilo because you depulp the coffee, and when
Okay.
you take out the cherry, then you wash it and you have like the seed, and it's like smaller. So you need like more volume
Interesting.
of cherry to get like parchment. Like
Huh.
5 kilos of cherry for 1 kilo
Okay.
of
Of cherry.
parchment.
I get it. I get it.
Uh-huh.
So processed,
So
when the
mhm,
process is
mhm.
over. Okay. And then also to fight the mold, which is probably a concern. You have to constantly keep agitating it.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because the naturals like they're solar dried and in solar beds, so you need to make sure that they
Air
are. Uh-huh.
flow. Okay.
Hmm.
So how many people do you work with? Like how many people do you guys employ?
It varies. Like during the main crop, that is like the busy season that we need a lot of people to pick up the coffee. Like in one farm, 200. Yeah,
It's 200.
coffee. It's actually a really good industry in Colombia because it generates a lot of employment. Usually, the pickers they move around the country. So, like the main crops vary depending on the region.
Okay.
So when we don't have like the main crop, then there is another region with the main crop. So they are moving around the country.
Very cool.
So
Okay.
yeah,
So that's their jam, is that they go
so
from there.
farm to
Okay.
farm, traveling around the country. Yeah,
And then do you guys do any like sample roasting on site or
no,
no?
no.
So um,
We should. Even one of the things that when you go to a farm in Colombia, well, yeah, it can happen that they will, if you want coffee, they won't give you like the coffee from the farm. They will serve you instant coffee.
oh man.
Nescafe. Yeah. It shouldn't be like that, but that happens. Yeah.
Okay, so then after the harvest season and everything is more or less kind of wrapping up for the season, then you're starting the next. Uh, where does the focus lie at home? Like, what's the first step to do when you're getting ready for like the new season?
Like the farms, you have like things to do all year round. Like during the main crop, like the only activity or job is picking the coffee. That's it. Like you don't have time for anything else.
Is there a training on picking coffee?
No, not really. Well, we want the pickers just to pick the red cherries, and that's sometimes challenging because they get paid based on weight.
Hmm.
So of course they want to pick as much as they can.
Sure.
So we pay them like more for them to pick up like
So you pay
the
them a
right
premium.
uh
Very cool.
the cherries.
So the new generation, it's hard to keep people in coffee because it's such a hard industry, and then they're going to the city to pick up jobs that are a little bit more easier to attain, and then to actually make money. And I think we saw that happen predominantly in Guatemala, where a lot of the farms were almost abandoned
Hmm.
because the market was so hard that you had most of the male farmers and workers going into the city and that left a lot of females to like kind of reclaim the farms and like reestablish Guatemalan coffee, which there was a huge movement with female farms because all the men left. But then that also happened in the Dominican Republic. And I was speaking with some people. We have a lot of people that live here in Nanacoke now from the Dominican Republic. So it's really cool because we talk a lot about coffee because
Uh-huh.
they come from coffee backgrounds. But it's the same thing. The farms were completely abandoned and they overgrew with just wild vegetation. But then these coffee plants are still there and they're still producing coffee. So some of them are being reclaimed. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
just the market is hard. It's hard to make go at it.
And most of the farmers are small farmers. So basically, like the family is the one that works at the farm. Like they don't employ too much, like people.
So it's the family farms.
Yeah, mostly.
I feel like we just scratched the surface. I really do. I feel like there's so much more that I don't know to ask. Like there's so much more information that I don't know how to ask for it. So, I mean, we'll just build on this. I hope that our relationship lasts for many years into the future and that we both grow together. You know, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe we can pick up again and do this at some point in the future.
Yeah. And you have to go to Colombia.
I do have to go to Colombia. Yeah, my wife and I, we work very hard in the business. It's very hard to work on the business. So, I mean, a goal, I would love to go to SCA. I haven't been to Expo because I've been so busy working.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
but someday, you know. Yeah, well, it's been very cool to talk with you. Thank you so much for stopping and hanging out at this very, very hot cafe. It is
Yeah,
like
it
94
is.
degrees out.
Super hot.
And I think we have a tornado warning or something
wow.
tonight too.
Really?
So yeah. So drive safe.
I will.
Thank you again
Thank
for hanging out with us. This is Conversations with Grateful Rose. Thank everybody for watching this far. If you are still watching, that's great. Please subscribe and check out our Patreon. That's how we are making our money to support this, so I can buy new equipment and hopefully get new guests and maybe hit the road at some point. Who knows? But thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Drive safe.
Okay.